Hi there, my name is Sarah Holger. I'm with Project Get Outdoors, and I just wanted to share with you some resources that are available for free checkout in the Goodhue County area. Project Get Outdoors teamed up with the Frontenac State Park Association, and they submitted a grant to the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources for a No Child Left Inside grant, and that allowed us to do some programming and outreach around Frontenac State Park and with the Goodhue County Libraries of Red Wing and Lake City. And so part of that program or project was to put together some kits and backpacks that folks can check out for free use to explore nature with children. So we have a few things available. We have 4 of these backpacks, Project Get Outdoors Nature Explorers backpacks. There's one at the Red Wing Library, one at the Lake City Library, and then 2 at Frontenac State Park. So you can check these out, like I said, for free. Inside each backpack, there's a nice little checklist of all the contents that are in the backpack. So I'll just kind of show them to you real quickly here. We have a book that's called Healing Breath, a guided meditation through nature for kids. So a nice book to sit down outside and kind of read with your child. There's a nature journal in here, which we encourage folks to write a little story, draw a picture, make some comments or observations when they use the backpacks. And then that way everybody who's using the backpacks can kind of read through the journals and learn from each other. We have a family nature guide, which is a laminated field guide that has insects and birds and tracks and scat and mammals and amphibians and reptiles and trees and flowers. I mean, everything nature in Minnesota. It's a nice introduction, and it's laminated. So this is something that can be used to explore, kind of like a scavenger hunt, and look for nature in your neighborhood or nature in the park. There's a set of Get Outdoors cards, which are from the Jeffers Foundation, which is based out of the Twin Cities, and they do a lot of work with schools and getting classrooms outdoors into nature. So these have just outdoor activity ideas, year-round ideas you can do outdoors with kids. Then there's these little nature circle cards that are clipped on the bag, and you flip this thing and there's all sorts of different ideas of things you can do outdoors. A lot of these are kind of mindfulness things to sit and look or listen or smell. So those are kind of a nice little guided nature activity set. Then we also have a couple resources that are more for parents in here. There's a Project Get Outdoors calendar, and this is an outdoor calendar. It's not dated for year. It can be used over and over, and every single day of the year it has an outdoor seasonal nature activity you can do with kids. So in the back of this, it lists nature-based stories that tie into the themes on the calendar, and then there's also a section at the very back that's healthy snack ideas that have nature themes. So these we actually created several years back, pre-COVID, specifically for daycare providers and early childhood professionals to use, but they work great for families as well. There's also a little nature prescription activity booklet, which our Southeast Minnesota Park RX group created. This is just nature-based mindfulness activities you can do in your own backyard and in your neighborhood. So most of these don't require any equipment. It also has a nice map showing where all the nature centers are in Southeast Minnesota, and really encouraging folks to go and visit nature centers and nature programming if you're new to the outdoors, because then you can learn from a guide or somebody who has more experience, and they can help you learn to be safe and comfortable in nature. There's also a hand lens in here to go looking for small things or things up close. There's an insect net for catching little critters, and there's also an insect box with a magnifying lens on it, so you can put bugs in here and look at them up close. We have a pair of binoculars, little kids' binoculars, so they're I think they're break-proof. There's a little pouch in here with colored pencils for drawing and writing in the journals. There's a cloud chart for stargazing, and it kind of tells you what each of the different clouds, what they mean, what they tell us about our weather. There's a ruler in here for being able to measure different things you find in nature. There's 3 different blindfolds or bandanas. You can use them however you want. There's a pop-up insect house. So this pops up to be able to put flying insects like butterflies and grasshoppers and moths and be able to look at them up close. So kind of a nice little container. And then there's also an envelope full of paint swatches to be able to do color scavenger hunts, looking for different colored things in nature. And then we also have some bubbles. So as part of the backpack on this list that has the checklist, there's some activity ideas that kind of give you some suggestions on ways you can use these resources when you're out exploring in nature. And really just encouraging people to be creative. Remember when you were a little kid, what did you enjoy doing out in your backyard or neighborhood? You don't really need equipment to have fun outside. And we're just trying to help people, give them a few tools so they can feel a little more confident about exploring nature. So those are the backpacks. Then we also have these kits, these Nature Explorer kits. There's one at the Lake City Library, one at the Red Wing Library. These are really designed for small groups of children, so daycare centers, scouts, large families, homeschool groups. So there's multiple sets of things in these. So if you're working with groups, small groups of kids, this is a nice tool that you could check out and use for free again. So in here we have a binder, and the binder has a really nice checklist, once again like the backpacks, of all the contents that are in the kit. And then there's also several pages of nature activity ideas that give you step-by-step instructions. So making a nature journal, going on a bug hunt, doing a wildlife scavenger hunt, doing a birding walk, a sink or float activity where you collect objects and then you use the containers in here, you fill them with water and you see if the objects are going to sink or float. A fun activity for preschool age children. A sensory walk using the blindfold, sensory touch and feel, get to know a tree. These are some blindfold activities. Cloud watching, doing nature murals with the sidewalk chalk in here. There's a bat and moth game you can play using the blindfolds. So just a few, once again, like the backpacks, a few ideas to get you started. I'll show you the contents in here. We've got, once again, the family guides, but we've got 3 of those so kids can work in pairs or teams or small groups on scavenger hunts. Another set of the outdoors cards with activities. Another copy of the nature prescription booklet. There's a little bit of information in here on the Minnesota Children's Outdoor Bill of Rights, which is a working group of folks from across Minnesota working to make nature more accessible to every child in Minnesota, whether that be through schools, daycare, healthcare, and just throughout our communities. So this is a really neat effort that you're going to be hearing more of in the coming years. There's a couple books in here. Nature Rangers, got a lot of fun activities you can do in nature. We've got a field guide for butterflies, field guide for backyard birds. We have 3 of the cloud charts. So once again, kids can pair up. We have the Jeffers Foundation that created the Get Outdoors cards, also has been really awesome in dispersing these booklets. A Parent's Guide to Nature Play, how to give your children more outdoor play and why you should. So it's just got some really neat information and tips for things you can do in your backyard and neighborhood. And then another copy of our outdoors calendar. We have 6 insect collecting nets in the bin. We have sidewalk chalk. We have 5 pairs of binoculars. Once again, kids can team up, pair up, and share things. We have 5 insect collecting boxes that have magnifying lenses on them. We have a set of these stuffed birds. So there's 4 of them in each box, and so those are really fun to hide around the yard, or you can go to a park and kind of hide them along the trail, then take a birding walk, use the binoculars, have kids practice kind of watching for birds. You could even have them, do a little bird study ahead of time to learn about some of our birds, and then as you take a walk and find them, they can share what they know about the birds. There's a whistle in here. There's a set of the Nature Circle Time cards again. There are 4 magnifying hand lenses. There's another one of those pop-up insect houses. There's 2 of these clear bins that can be used in multiple ways. You can put insects in them, and if you go where there's a pond, you can put minnows and tadpoles and things like that. But you can also use them for like the sink and float game I mentioned. And then once again, there's some blindfolds in this kit too that you can use for different sensory games and activities. So we always say it's not rocket science. Getting outdoors into nature isn't rocket science. It shouldn't be difficult. But for those of us who maybe didn't grow up doing much outside, it can be a little scary or intimidating. So we just want to provide some resources and tools and ideas to help make it more exciting and less scary getting out there into nature. So hopefully you can take advantage of these kits and these backpacks in the Red Wing and Lake City areas. So thank you so much.